Hi, I'm Giselle Holder, and I'm very glad to be here as part of our Rotary Works ENCORE. It's really a privilege to be here. I do have a short slide to share with everyone today as we get into my presentation. So what I'll be talking to you about today is really in a nutshell, the impact that Rotaract has on becoming a Rotarian and the benefit being a Rotaractor can add to both being a Rotarian and to your professional life. So I've entitled it the Triple R Effect. And just a bit about me very quickly. I am, of course, from District 7030. I'm a Caribbean national. I love Carnival. That's that picture up there with me. And I'm very family oriented. Hence the reason I've put my three nieces there for you to get to know them a little better and get to know me a bit better as well. Going back to the first image, I was a DRR, District Rotaract representative for District 7030, and that represented the theme of the year from a Rotaract level, focusing on youth, excellence, and service-driven. So what are we going to do today? Well, I'm going to share with you some known facts. We're going to get to the heart of the matter, and then we're going to look at these lasting, wonderful effects that add so much value from Rotaract to Rotary. So, three known facts, because there are so many things, as we know, within our Rotary organization that we can chat about, we can be here whole day. But talking about Rotaract, I just want to highlight three specific things. Rotaract is global, just like Rotary. As of 2020, these were the statistics shared by Rotary International on this ever-growing movement. Rotaract spans all over the universe, and it's really beautiful. And yes, I said universe. So to bring it home, for me, for District 7030, we have 17 countries, we have 3 languages, we have 48 Rotaract clubs, we have 950 plus Rotaractors, and we have our district governor and our DRR partnering together to be able to help lead that Rotaract movement. And it's a great thing. We need more Rotaractors, even if we're growing. So what do we use as a Rotaract club? Because I think it's great that we understand while we're talking about the benefits of Rotaract to Rotary and how my own experience demonstrates that as a Rotaractor becoming a Rotarian. You know, it's good for us to understand that Rotaract on its own has its own guidelines, its own manual of procedure, its own constitution, its own guidelines that all rolls up under the RI guidelines. So in terms of our references for Rotaract, we have the Rotaract handbook, we have subsections within the Rotary constitution, we have the bylaws. So it's really a very well thought of out program that has gone through so many changes. And it begs the question of, you know, what really was the purpose of this Rotaract club, of being Rotaractors? And it's summarized here, where within the Rotaract Club Constitution, as updated on July 1st, we were all reminded of this great purpose that Rotaract has to offer. And it says it very nicely here. Students and young professionals take action through community and international service. And that creates sustainable solutions. That's very powerful. Okay, and those solutions are targeted to global challenges. And I think that in itself just paints everything together. You get the lifelong friendships, you get development of skills, you just have fun. And you know, to me, that's at the heart of what a Rotaract club's purpose is. And then the third and final fact is we are elevated, Rotaracts are elevated. And you would hear me say we very often because once a Rotaractor, always a Rotaractor. So the Elevate Rotaract really struck home to me, even at the time I was a Rotarian, I was a very new Rotarian, but the wealth of information, the opportunities, the opening of doors, right? And just starting with the most basic change in terms of that membership type, Rotaract now being seen as a membership type within Rotary is very powerful. We are still unpacking what it means. And so there are going to be so many things that you would see popping up in your own district that's helping to streamline and helping to share with your Rotaractors to get them on board. One such occasion would be this upcoming training on My Rotary for Rotaractors, all within Zone 33 and Zone 34. So we welcome you to join that, and Rotarians as well. So let's talk about the heart of the matter. For those of you who are within certain businesses, you would have heard already of the triple bottom line. And I know for me, I am a facility manager, an electrical engineer by training, and triple bottom line means something specific for me when I speak with my clients. And triple bottom line tends to encompass three things: people, place, and some people say profit, but we say environment as well within our organization, because we look at the impact that people and place actually have on the environment and vice versa. But let's look at that through a Rotaract or Rotary lens. And what I did here was substitute. So when we're talking about people, we're talking about relationship. When we're talking about our reach, we're talking about environment. And when we talk about our place, in terms of where we work, in terms of what we do, there's so much reward in terms of what we receive and what we are able to share and how we are able to grow. So that becomes that triple R effect within the Rotaract mind frame that we are actually able to gain so much value from when Rotaractors go through that transition of becoming Rotarians. That, as you see, it's a simple Venn diagram. I don't want to get too heavy in the maths here, but you know, that intersection, that point of intersection is Rotaract, where relationship, reach, and reward comes together. Okay, and we're calling that, for the sake of this presentation, the triple R effect. And so let's get into it. Let's see how we reap these Rotaract rewards. Let's start with relationship. So relationship in a Rotaract context, you know, so many things come to mind. We speak about resources, representation, because as a Rotaractor, it's very, very important, especially with all these generations, right, that come together. It's now 18 and up, right? So we have a nice mix of millennials, Gen Zs, and wherever you fall in between. There's so much different levels of engagement, so much perspectives, and Rotaract respects that. We welcome that. We want that, because our organization celebrates that. Through incoming President Jennifer Jones, DEI is at the heart of her year, and it remains at the heart of our organization, where we look at diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's also very important when we speak about relationship, we talk about friendships. Rotaract allows for young persons to come together with that single focus of doing more, of seeing whatever you can bring to the table and how that adds value, how that creates this wonderful, safe, peaceful environment for all those we help. And of course, it's about the professional skill. Rotaract focuses so heavily on professional development. It's really that next step, that 1, 2, 3, for you from moving from your everyday Joe to someone with a very clear focus, to someone who's able to actually harness and, you know, almost purify and refine your skills. And you get that out of Rotaract. So that relationship, that mixing up and blending that we are able to do, it's so important, and it's really at the heart of this triple R effect that we get from Rotaract and what we're able to do and add to Rotary. We then speak about reach, and as Rotarians, as Rotaract, when you hear reach, instantly you think impact, you think our global organization, you think the fact that I'm here in Trinidad and Tobago and you are wherever you are, and we're here, we're talking, we're sharing, and it's wonderful. And that reach is also something that makes Rotaract so attractive. It's actually one of the things that got me very much involved for Rotaract, I was able, being from a Caribbean perspective, to literally travel to every one of the 17 islands and countries that are within our district, to go North America for RILA, to go to Sao Paulo for DRR training. And these things are priceless. These are not experiences that you will ever forget. And so that reach, and similarly, that's an internal perspective. This external reach now that prompts us to think big, that prompts us to, even as a small group, to think of solutions we can implement into our community to help make it better, to share, to grow, to learn, to also take the time to listen to others so that whatever solution we're coming up with is fit for purpose. Sounds like I'm describing Rotary, right? So Rotaract gives us that internal growth, that internal impact, that internal reach, and also, of course, that service-driven focus that we do now externally and through our entire community. We are able to make a difference and leave your mark. And the last part of the R, this triple R effect, speaks to reward. And we're going to spend some time on reward, because trust me, I was, going back and forth about the word reward. And I was just like, what are people going to think? Are they going to think we go into Rotaract just to get something personal, to us, some sort of benefit that only we can benefit from? And, it seems almost selfish. It seems almost one-sided. But you know what? While that may be true for some, it's certainly not true for the entire organization. We have so much intrinsic rewards, so much experiences and benefits that we get from just being a Rotaractor that are intangible, that, if we were to somehow be able to translate this into something you could touch and feel, I think it will wrap around the world multiple times, because there's really no measure, no price that you can put to what you get out of Rotaract. And there's a certain resonance. And I love the word resonance, right? It's me again being a little bit nerdy because we're talking about frequencies and that perfect frequency that you get when something aligns, right? And that's what happens in Rotaract, what Rotaractors go through. There's this perfect alignment between your individual morals and values and wants that coincides with those of the wider organization. And that becomes invaluable. There is no price. There's nothing you can put against that. That resonance is what keeps persons coming back. What makes Rotaractors not want to leave. So we have also that value add, that opportunity to be of value and to bring value. And that becomes this very, very rewarding, hence the word reward, rewarding experience. And we want our young persons to have that. I always remember when I went for my DRR training and sitting down there thinking, wow, this is so wonderful. I was sitting down next to a Rotaractor from India and another Rotaractor was from Sao Paulo as well. And they were just sharing stories of what they were doing within their clubs. And the Rotaractor from India, I always remember this. She is telling us that most of their Rotaractors in their club are medical students, and some even would have been doctors at the time. And they were putting together these, what I remember from it is almost like these miniature bites, these sandwiches of sorts, to help alleviate poverty within rural communities in India. And I'm sitting down thinking, this is so innovative. This is so impactful. Yet it's so simple, because all they are doing, they are leveraging off of what exists. They're medical students. They understand nutrition. They know what is lacking because they would have done some sort of community analysis of those they're going to serve. and they're figuring out a solution that they can afford, that they can make happen. And it's really a very powerful thing that you have young persons in their 20s, 18-year-olds, 30s, right? Being so innovative, being so selfless. And that is rewarding. That passion, that ability to grow, that ability to do better and be better. It's really phenomenal. And it's one of the things that has always lasted with me as you go on. So even after your Rotaract experience, you draw down from this triple R effect. This triple R effect remains with you because there's no way of shaking it off because of that resonance, because of those relationships, because of what you've seen through that reach. You only want to do more. And that is the benefit that we bring as Rotaractors. Hear that we again, that we bring to Rotary. And it's beautiful, it's measurable as well, because we are able to measure that impact. So Rotaract, basically, if I were to summarize that, it makes you super. And I love this image that was put out by Evan Birrell. It's so wonderful, and it so summarizes all that we do as Rotarians. We're superheroes, but that's a whole other presentation. But what is really beautiful about it is that we take whatever resources we have, we develop whatever relationships we have, and we make it work. We work with our communities. We figure it out. We troubleshoot. We spend the time as Rotaractors. And so it's so easy to transition as a Rotarian, who to me just takes that to the next level. And you're also able to take these same skills, if you realize from what I've said, talking about relationship building, talking about, the ability to increase your impact, the ability to resonate, the ability to give reward as well as gain reward. That is also very impactful on your professional life. There's no distinction. I remember in my Rotaract journey, when I joined back in 2007, everyone would say, Giselle always has something to say, but I would seldom say it because, you're still very, thinking about how it would look, what would people think of my thoughts, right? What would people think of me kind of coming out of the box? But Rotaract showed me that say counts, that very unique perspective counts. And we need that in Rotary. That's one of the things that makes us who we are, makes our organization who it is. So when we talk about these super Rotaractors becoming super Rotarians, it sounds a little bit lofty, but it's so real because it's happening. It has happened. And it will continue to happen once we provide that framework for our Rotaractors to grow, to really experience this elevation, and also to just bring what they bring. There's no words for that, right? They just bring so much energy. They bring so much passion. And we need that. We need that in our organization. We need that in the world. We need that professionally. We need that insight. So this superpower that is really refined and I think somewhat perfected within the Rotaract experience is so beneficial to our Rotary organization that we need to harness it. We need to not let it go. So even if our Rotaractors need to spend more time in Rotaract, the impact, the value add is exactly what we need. This new type of membership in our organization is exactly what we need. And I am so happy as a Rotaractor turned Rotarian. I am now a past president of my Rotary Club. I'm outgoing district Rotaract chair for District 7030. I was asked to serve as an ARC with specific focus on Rotaract. These opportunities were not by chance. These opportunities were specific to the fact that my Rotaract journey equipped me with the tools, that relationship, that reach, that reward. And these are the things that I take with me everywhere I go, regardless of the space that I'm in, whether it be Rotary, whether it be work, whatever, wherever you are. And so we remind ourselves always that Rotaractors have so much to offer. And from the tools I shared with you before and our references, take the time to learn about Rotaract and how if you don't have a Rotaract club in your district, you need one. You definitely need one. And I am very biased, of course, in that regard, but let the science, let the data speak to it as well. In terms of the examples produced, you saw Emily before, for those of you who will watch that presentation. MJ is phenomenal, and we have thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, like her, able to share what they have learned and be able to share that story. So as I thank you, and of course, as I reminisce on my Rotaract days and everything that it meant, I can't help but also think about what the future has in store, because what we're doing now as Rotary is so exciting with our youth programs. We are elevating, we are pushing, we are ensuring that, hey, whatever avenue you enter our Rotary family, you are getting so much benefit. And through Rotaract, that benefit, that triple R effect, that relationship reward and that reach becomes exactly the driving tool that our organization needs to continue doing the wonderful work it does to change lives. Rotaractors, wherever they are, make an impact. They make a difference. And so we need to ensure there's always an opportunity for them to do so. Let's get rid of any sort of misinterpretation, misperception of what that type of membership brings to our organization. I reiterate as well, part of the value brought by Rotaract is going to be seen through Elevate Rotaract. It's going to complement what already exists. It's going to take that triple R effect and inject it with so much passion, with so much value, and it's going to just blow it out of this world. And so we must take the time to ensure that our Rotaractors are equipped with what they do, what they need to be able to do what they need to do. So opportunities through our zone, just like this Rotary Works program and this ENCORE session that we're doing here today, we give that value, we share that value, we use the opportunity to be able to allow Rotaract to grow, to pivot, and to become even more exceptional, to become super. And so I thank you. I thank Rotary Works. I thank my district. I thank everyone for lining it up so that these stories, these lessons learned, these journeys could be shared, because we have so much more to do. We need our Rotaractors. We need them to be totally switched on, to know that they can do anything, that they can imagine, that they can add so much value to our organization. And so I invite you to, continue helping to share that story as we continue through our Rotary Works program here today. Every Rotarian, every Rotaractor, every Rotary member here today listening and who will listen to this, we thank you for your energy, your time, your volunteer hours, because these are the things that help make us who we are. I thank you so very much for this opportunity and hope you enjoy the rest of the program.